Hey everyone, Brian from Three Geeky Dads here. Before we begin tonight's episode, I just want everyone to know that we are now sponsored by Audible. As an IT professional for a school department, I find myself behind the wheel of my car traveling between schools almost all day long, and that's where Audible comes in. Right now, I'm enjoying listening to Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, read by Stephen Fry. It's so enjoyable to hear this hilarious audiobook read by a proper British comic actor. And that's just scratching the surface. Audible is the leading provider of spoken word content, with everything from bestsellers, celebrity memoirs, and news to podcasts. Yes, if you're into podcasts, and you're listening to us right now, so we can assume you do, Audible has got you covered. Just go to www.audibletrial.com/3GD to get your free 30-day trial today. That's www.audibletrial.com/3GD to get your free 30-day trial. You'll get 1 credit, 2 credits if you're already an Amazon Prime member. That's good for any premium selection titles you like, and they're yours to keep. You also get the Audible Plus catalog of podcasts, audiobooks, guided wellness, and Audible originals. Listen all you want. No credits needed. Again, that's www.audibletrial.com/3GD. $14.95 a month after your 30-day trial. Cancel at any time. Audible. Stay informed, connected, and inspired. And now, on with the show.
Warning, incoming dad joke. Warning, incoming dad joke.
Who is your daddy, and what does he do?
It was like a pink nightmare.
Christmas has a Yule log. Not a log, I don't have a log, but it's...
All that I have, all that I've done, everything I feel, all this and more I bequeath you, my son.
Your father was Frankenstein, and your mother was the lightning.
We named the dog Indiana.
I am your father.
That was the funniest one yet.
That is a joke. I get it. It is not funny.
Hello and welcome to another thrilling episode of Three Geeky Dads, the only show featuring a group of guys no one would ever want to see while in the shower, especially all together.
Ooh.
Gross. I am Mark, and with me tonight we have 2 out of the 3 dads joining me. Unfortunately, Derek could not be here in person tonight, hence the no incoming dad joke. Unfortunately, he was unable to make it, so he's not here in body, but he is still with us in spirit. And also anything he sent over me, he sent all the answers over to me on the phone. So
All right.
he'll be chiming in, kind of. But joining me tonight, as always, are
Brian.
And Tito.
And with that, we actually stay true to our show's title for once. We are 3 Geeky Dads. Hello, dads. How are you this week?
We're doing good.
How's everybody? Everybody having a good week so far? It's a little wet outside. It's a little rainy.
Yeah, but it's warm.
It's warm.
It's warm. I guess
Hot in these
we
rhinos.
can't get the warmth without enduring some rain.
No. Nope. You can never just
Enjoy the
have
weather.
Goldilocks is just right porridge in New England now. Tonight we are marching into March with madness on the brain and episodes insane. That's right. Back by popular demand is the return of our In the March of Madness month. 4 movies choice picked by us that deal with the insane in the membrane, pulled from the abyss of lunacy and discussed before you, our faithful listeners. You guys all out there, and you know who you are, every one of you. Tonight and if you don't know, you've got serious problems. Tonight we launch our series off with the movie that kept people out of showers, thus creating a whole generation of smelly moviegoers who were shocked and bothered by a
Why are you looking at me?
Well, I got nothing to back that up. Who were shocked and bothered by a knife and chocolate sauce. I am, of course, referring to that classic Alfred Hitchcock thriller, Psycho.
Bosco.
Bosco. I thought you said Oscar.
No, Bosco.
Bosco
chocolate
chocolate sauce.
sauce.
Hershey. Hershey Squirt, the movie. No, Psycho, the movie that many decreed not only launched the whole slasher genre, but also one of the first American horror films to modernize horror movies by taking them out of the castles and into our own backyard. But before we check into a motel of macabre and mayhem, our own psychotic souffleur of all things steamy and spicy, Brian,
Hello.
has whipped up a yummy appetizer to start us off. Brian.
Sit down.
Thank you. You're very kind.
It's all for you. I'm not hungry. Go ahead.
Tonight, as Mark just mentioned, we're going to be starting this year's In the March Madness series off with a look at one of the all-time greats. Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 masterpiece of a thriller, the proto-slasher film, Psycho. Now, of course, it wouldn't be a 3GD episode without some spoilers, so we're going to just put this out there right now. The lead character, Marion Crane, played by Janet Leigh, gets killed off almost halfway through the movie, and that got us wondering, what other movies do we like that also killed off the main character way before the end of the film?
That's it.
Short and sweet, baby.
I like that. Wow. Okay. So we are supposed to start with Derek this week.
That's right, we are.
And we will. He did send in everything he needs, so we can pretend he's here. We got a little hat, and we got a bottle of beer here, and we have a little doll of Derek. No, we don't.
Derek doll.
That's at home. I cut it with an end. Okay. So appetizer. Main characters killed off early on. So his top one is Chris Hemsworth. I'm surprised he didn't pick who I thought he was going to pick, but Chris Hemsworth from Cabin in the Woods. Post Thor, he's the only star of the film until you see who's running the show, and yet he's the first of the group of cabin mates to die.
Oh,
That's an interesting
that's a good
choice.
one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't even think about
Me
that.
He was
either.
probably the most famous one of the bunch.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
Because then otherwise it's a bunch of
Like
just
TV
Josh
people.
Whedon
Yeah.
folks. It's all,
Yeah.
it's all Josh Whedon people.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Derek's. Brian.
All right, so I'm going with, and I got to say, going into this one, I had trouble thinking of movies where the main character gets killed off until just the other night I was watching something on YouTube, and it totally brought this to mind because they mentioned the same exact thing. So I'm bringing up Hammer Studios' Horror of Dracula from 1958, where Jonathan Harker arrives at Castle Dracula under the false pretense that he's the Count's new librarian, and he's actually there to destroy the vampire. Dracula finds out and kills Harker about 20 minutes into the movie, but his absence opens the door for Peter Cushing's Van Helsing to show up, avenge Harker's death, and finally destroy the Count once and for all.
I've seen this one.
You have.
That's a good
we
one.
watched
That is a good one.
That is a very good
And I
pick.
can't believe I didn't even think of that until I saw another video where they were reviewing the film and they talked about it. And I'm like, God damn it, that doesn't fit our theme for this week.
Didn't even register with me.
Didn't even register.
Yeah, because he's a major
You are
character.
spot
He is a
on,
major
yeah.
character.
And
Jonathan
in all
Harker.
the other versions
Yeah,
of the
in
story,
in
he's
Hammer's
a
version,
main player.
in Hammer's version, he bites it about 20 minutes in.
As a vampire, too.
Actually, he gets bit about 20 minutes in. He doesn't bite it. Somebody else bites him.
And then he gets
And
staked.
He gets staked.
But he's a vampire for a little bit. And the only
We don't see it, though.
time I think I've seen that happen was the Jonathan Harker character in Herzog's Nosferatu, but he makes it to the very end when he becomes a vampire.
Yeah.
And then he takes off on the horse, which is kind of cool. So,
Don't
good
they always?
pick. They don't usually. Vampires don't usually ride horses, do they?
I don't think
cool
so.
They
ones
ride
do.
Yeah, that's true. They do.
Because isn't there a vampire legend that a horse can detect a vampire by riding over its grave or something like that?
I've never heard that.
Oh.
I'm not saying I've never heard it, but it sounds cool.
Yeah,
We
I
should
thought that
should
was
make
one
that
of
a
the ones.
thing. No.
I just made that up. I think it's going to be a big hit
Pretty good. Yeah, I think it's gonna catch. You wait next year.
next year.
Well, they
All
know
the all the
werewolves.
vampires are going to be having horses.
There's always a horse going nuts when there's a werewolf about. So, they know werewolves. And do they know Terminators? Or
Bluka.
is it just dogs?
No,
and
they
they
know
know
Terminators. Yeah, they know Terminators for sure.
Tito, how about you?
I went with the series. I'm going Ned Stark from Game of Thrones. Sean
Oh,
Bean.
goddamn.
Goddamn.
I'm surprised you didn't pick
Yeah, I
that.
was
Yeah,
thinking,
man.
I was thinking maybe you were going to take
like,
that one.
No, I had trouble with this, and I didn't want to rely on the internet. I'm trying to rack my brain.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I like to do that too.
Yeah.
So, what's funny is, I like to do that too.
But my
but
brain
I did
fails
go to
me a
the
lot.
internet, and when I was going through the internet, I was like, oh, wait a minute, because I saw a different Sean Bean something, and I was like, oh, Ned Stark, awesome character. He might be the I think, the best character in the show.
Yeah.
Dies the second to last episode of season 1. If you've never seen this show, crawl out from under your rock and get a television. But
That's the only reason no one has seen it.
Yeah, but don't see season 8. Just watch up to
Don't see
season 7.
8. But he's
Do what I
such
do.
a-
Watch
Yeah.
the first 2 seasons and then go right to the end to piss Game of Thrones.
Choose your
fans
own
off.
ending.
Yeah.
Choose your own ending. But he's so good. When he dies, it's the biggest surprise because you're like, okay, this guy's going to do all these things. And yeah, I just thought, oh my God, this character's going to be so good. And the more seasons they make, the better he's going to get. And he's going to save the day and in classic, fashion.
Yeah.
And he just gets his head fucking cut off. And you're like, damn, who am I going to love now?
Sean Bean died in a movie?
Yeah,
Go
right.
figure.
Yeah. But yeah, that was one of my favorites, I would say.
That's a good one. And again, one I'm surprised you didn't pick.
Yeah, man, I had trouble with this. And
Yeah.
like I said,
and this was your call too, right? Wasn't this one?
it
your
kind of was, and I
suggestion?
thought it would be easier than
Because
it was, but yeah.
You challenged yourself,
I
though.
did. I
Good
really
for you,
did.
man.
That's what we do on the
That's
show.
what
We challenge
we do.
ourselves.
That's we educate as well as entertain
Challenging
ourselves.
bunch.
We're a challenging bunch. That's our new slogan. 3 geeky dads. We're a challenging bunch.
Oh, I
Or
love
we
it.
just challenged.
Or we're
just
challenged.
challenged.
A little bit of both.
Daily.
So my pick is the sudden for this. My pick is half the villains in Dick Tracy.
Oh, yeah.
Very
okay.
few people play them, but I remember really wanting to see this movie. I was not a huge Dick Tracy fan at the time, but I remember because this was a Touchstone movie, they had
is Disney.
the making of Dick Tracy on the Disney Channel, and I would watch the special that they would run from time to time with all the makeup that they put in these villains, like the rodent, the brow, little face,
Flat top.
Flat Top made it, but there was extensive makeup done on several villains who, in the beginning of this movie, are all playing cards. And you see Littleface, which was the most famous of there was a toy, there was like talk of him because, he was the most bizarre looking out of all of them. Between him and the rodent and a few others, they're all gunned down within the first, I think, after the credits, the first 5 minutes of the movie. And that's it. And even as a kid, I remember thinking all that work, all that hype,
Yeah.
all that makeup,
Yeah.
and they only show
nothing
him for
almost.
like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're all just kind of sitting around a table.
They're just playing cards, and then Big Boy's gang, Flat Top and Itchy, they come busting through the wall in a car, and they just gun them all down.
Yeah.
That's it. And I remember thinking, well, that's it. That's done. So I had a lot of picks, but for some reason this one stuck right out. So I'm going with that one.
Excellent.
Cool.
So runners up for Derek. He had a couple of runners up. Backups. Kurt Russell, The Hateful Eight, and Bryan Cranston in Godzilla.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
Which,
Okay.
those are good ones as
Yeah.
well.
Bryan
How about
Cranston
you,
does
Brian?
I had no runners up.
No runners up.
That was it.
Tito.
I got Tina from Nightmare on Elm Street. It starts with her having the nightmare, and you think she's going to be the focus, but she dies fairly early.
Yep.
Just thrown around a room and all kinds of shit. Poor Tina. We miss you, Tina. And then I got Dallas from Alien because he's kind of, Tom Skerritt's the guy.
Yeah,
You
he's the
think
captain.
he's gonna
He's
be
the
running the
captain. He's
show.
going to be
Yeah,
running the show,
yeah.
and he dies, and then all of a sudden Ripley's the star, and then she gets all these fucking movies.
Yep.
Rightfully
Yeah.
deserved.
And where's Tom Skerritt?
Where's Tom Skerritt?
He's
I don't know.
hanging with that guy from Ted who
Yeah,
claims they're
exactly.
best
Do
friends.
you know Tom Skerritt? No, you don't.
Ever hung a garage door with Tom Skerritt?
No, you haven't.
But those are my things. The other one was I don't know that he's necessarily a main character, but it was Sean Bean again. In
Go figure.
Sean Bean dies
Sean Bean
again.
died in
Sean
something?
Bean again in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's true.
Fellowship.
Boromir.
I fucking love his character in that movie, and it kills me that he dies because I think he's one of the more interesting characters in that film.
Mm-hmm.
So those are mine.
So no one picked this one, and I'm shocked. I'm shocked Derek didn't pick this one. Drew Barrymore in Scream.
I thought somebody was
I
going
thought
to pick it.
I thought he would because
So I think we all probably thought that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have Alice from Friday the 13th Part 2, Joey and Kincaid in Dream Master, the fourth Nightmare on Elm Street movie, Michael Rooker in The Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah.
And Fergie from Planet Terror. They kind of pass her off as the hero in the beginning, and she's ripped
she
to
is
shreds.
in the beginning of that movie.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that.
I forgot it was her
Fucking
until
Fergie.
Fucking Fergie.
But like Captain Boomerang dies too in the beginning.
A lot of them did.
Yeah, and whoever Pete Davidson was playing, you knew he was going to go. The only one to survive. Oh, and what's his name? Nathan Fillion's character. I'm drawing a blank on it.
Something with arms.
Oh, Detachable Kid.
Detachable Kid.
Yep.
Right. So they all.
Those didn't surprise me as much as Captain Boomerang, only because he was in the previous film.
Right,
I just assumed he would continue on, and I thought he was a pretty one of the better characters in it.
And doesn't Steven Seagal die like
in
executive decision, right?
Yeah.
Like early on.
Yep.
So there's a few. This was a good pick, Brian. This was fun to think of.
It was. Even
Good
if I
job,
couldn't come up with anything myself.
Yeah, but you came up with what you needed to. You rediscovered something great about an already great film. That's what you did. Horror of Dracula.
I did. I think I'll watch it later.
I think you should after Machete.
It's a horror.
Machete.
That's our appetizers, guys. Nice job. Shall we
job,
get to
Derek.
the main course?
The main.
Good job, Derek.
As soon as Derek stops talking.
Yeah. Shut up, Derek.
Continue.
You eat like a bird.
You know, of course.
No, not really. Anyway, I hear the expression "eats like a bird." It's really a falsity, because birds really eat a tremendous lot.
12 cabins, 12 vacancies, 64 years of suspense and terror. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho is considered by many to be not only one of his best films of all time, but one of the greatest horror movies ever made. A true genre-bending film that paved the way for not only a whole new outlook for the standard thriller, but also how one views the world of monsters, madness, and things that go bump in the night. Along with movies like Night of the Living Dead, Psycho was instrumental in Americanizing the horror genre, steering it away from European settings and Gothic atmosphere, and instead placing it in any town, USA. The monster was your next-door neighbor or someone down the street. The haunted house was no longer off the beaten path, but much closer to your neighborhood. And the nightmare, instead of coming at you with capes and fangs or fur, came at you with charm and a smile. The movie has been cited as an inspiration from such genre greats as John Carpenter, George Romero, and Clive Barker, and its legendary shower scene remains one of the most studied scenes by film historians, critics, and fans of all time. Its legacy has gone on to spawn a whole genre in and of itself, that being the slasher genre, which would today continue to thrive and still remain one of the most prominent and profitable types of movies. From the '79 Halloween to the most recent smash hit Thanksgiving, the slasher has been lurking about through the decades with a variety of madmen and women of every shape, size, creed, and color, and shows zero signs of slowing down. And it all falls back to that first raise of the knife, that first shriek of the violin strings, and that first Janet Leigh scream. So come on in out of the rain, have a sandwich with Norman Bates in the parlor, relax and treat yourself to a nice hot shower. But watch out for Mother, 'cause she'll let you check in, but good luck checking out. Folks, this is Psycho. So this was my pick, and I'm very curious to hear, because I believe Derek had seen it before, but I know you had not seen this before, Tito. So I'm interested in hearing the opinion of someone who's seeing this movie fresh. So we'll start with Derek's opening thoughts, and they are simply this. Opening thoughts. Such an iconic film, but sadly I don't love it like I love other Hitchcock flicks, which is fair. I know people who like this movie, but like other films a lot better than this one. So that was his opening thought. How about you?
So that's a consistent. Oh, well, you guys were talking about your favorite Hitchcock movies earlier.
Right. And
So
we'll kind of know when we get to the where does it stack up category.
Yeah, I like it. But like Derek, I think there are other Hitchcock films that I like better. I said cock.
Cox.
Mara.
Mara.
I didn't see this movie until fairly recently. I was always aware of this movie, obviously, like everybody. It's always in the zeitgeist. It's, it often imitated, often referred to. You see clips for it all the time. but I had never seen the movie all the way through until I became friends with you.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, you turned me on to a lot of Hitchcock stuff. Like when we first started hanging out, you were always talking about Rope was one of your favorites. And I went out and I got myself the Hitchcock box set Blu-ray of all his greatest movies. And that's where I finally got to sit down and watch Psycho all the way through. And I really liked it. I really do. Like I said, it's a fantastic movie. I can see why it's considered a proto-slasher film. Like I said, you've got Norman. He's just twisted and so calm on the outside, but so weird underneath. There's so much going on under the surface with Norman. It's a really, really good film, and I do dig it. I do watch it at least once a year. You know, I'll go through like Hitchcock, like you. I go through my phases. Like I got to watch some Hitchcock movies.
So it makes a rotation.
Oh, it's definitely in my rotation. It's always in my rotation. I've since I've watched it the first time, I've watched it maybe a dozen or more times, and that's just in the last 10 years or so. You know, so I like it a lot. It's fantastic.
Nice. Tito.
Yeah, first time I've ever seen it was yesterday. I'm familiar with Psycho. I know they did a remake. The music is
iconic.
Iconic, and I know it. I just know the music. Everybody knows the music, and everybody knows the story. And I'm not a Hitchcock guy. I just never saw the movies. I thought this was a really fun movie. I thought it was really, really interesting. I liked the way it was filmed. I thought that Janet Leigh was really, really good in it. I thought that Anthony Perkins. I think he's fucking fantastic in this movie. And those two characters actually carry the movie for me. Older films, I don't know. I just feel like people are just better actors now, or they just got better. I don't know. So for some of the characters, when I'm watching them on screen, I'm just like, oh, this guy's not convincing. Or the woman that plays her sister is fine. You know, she's all right.
Yeah.
But Janet Leigh, I think, is really like a really good actress, and I think Anthony Perkins is just like, if it's not him, I don't know who else was around at the time or available. I don't know. I might think this movie wasn't very good, even with the iconic music and the idea of the slasher, and the shower scene and all that stuff. He really you got to be really good to pull that off, and he does. He does such a great job. Like I would watch that. I could have watched him talking to Janet Leigh for like an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah.
If that was the whole movie, I would have loved it. About anything. That scene is, we're getting into a category, but I fucking loved that scene so much. I was like, wow, these guys kind of shattered my idea of the black and white film and acting maybe not being, me thinking acting wasn't as good back then as it is now. Because they're just absolutely, I was totally focused during that scene. Like, this is phenomenal. This back and forth is amazing. But yeah, a fun movie. You should everyone should see it. I don't think there's any reason not to. But again, I don't know a lot about Hitchcock. I guess a little bit surprised. I haven't heard what you have to say yet, but it not being like the creme de la creme of Hitchcock movies for at least two out of the four of us so far. So that surprises me a little bit.
So it is for me. It's in my top 3 of Hitchcock films. See, there's Psycho the movie and then Psycho the Legacy. And as it is with a lot of these, quote unquote iconic films, be it Psycho, Night of the Living Dead, Rosemary's Baby. I mean, there are Exorcist. There's the film, and then there's the legacy the film leaves behind.
Right, or the legend that was built up around.
Exactly, or how
films.
it just inspired so many that you tend to fall in love with the legacy. So if you're a first-timer seeing this film, you might be expecting something greater because so many have built up this reputation for it. But having said that, at the same time, about a couple of years ago, it was playing at Lux Level, and I took my daughter Emily to see it. You know, it was
I
just
remember
we were
that.
just looking for
Okay.
something to do.
Yeah.
And I told her, yeah, it's a guy that kills people with a knife. That's all I said because it's a black and white movie. She was ready to get out of the house. We were still kind of under quarantine, so we were looking for anything to do. And she ended up loving it, and she loved the mystery behind it. She loved what made Norman Bates tick and the ending. So I submit the film still holds up because she was 12 at the time or 13, something like that.
That's funny. It almost has to be that generation. Like, I think I'm too old. Like,
Yeah.
I'm too old. I know too much.
Right.
Where my kid, your kids, that's not a conversation. Those things are, Psycho's not coming up in their circles. I
Exactly.
can't imagine.
Yeah, that taboo
Where it's still
stuff has
it can be fresh and interesting
That's
for
an interesting
your
point,
daughter
too.
or someone that age
Right.
or a little bit older. But yeah, like for me, yeah, I know the music. I know what it is. I've seen the clip of him at the end many times in many documentaries about filmmaking or horror.
Yep.
So I lose something. Same like you say, The Exorcist. I saw The Exorcist in my late 20s. If I was alive when it came out or of age where I could see it in the theater for the first time, it probably would have scared the shit out of me.
Sure.
When I watched it, I just thought it was a pretty cool movie.
I saw it when I was like 10 or 11,
Me
and
too.
everybody had built it up, and I left feeling fine. I thought it was actually the parts that were really scary, I thought were fun, you know, and I think it's a great film, and I think it still works. It can still leave, you know, leave you feeling creeped out at times, but, you know, part of me wishes I never saw The Exorcist. Part of me wishes I could just have endured the legacy of it. And you know what I mean?
That makes
like
sense.
there's the mystery behind it.
I fell asleep watching Rosemary's Baby, and when I woke up, and I was like, "Is this over?" Thank God.
Rosemary's Baby. I have tried to watch
This movie's fucking
several
killing me.
times, and I cannot stand it. It is
Talk about
rain
slow
to
burn.
the top. Exactly.
Talk about a fucking slow burn.
But so many people love it, and it has this great respect. And it's one of those things where I've heard so much about it. I thought I was going to be wowed, and I was like you, Tito. I cannot get through that film. Now, I don't think it's a shitty movie because it's managed to you know, solidify itself, you know, in the horror zeitgeist. So it's got to be a good movie, right? In general, it's got to be. But to me, it's a boring piece of shit.
Yeah, it doesn't
you know?
hit. Yeah, no,
That's just how it is. And I would expect if somebody said this about, you know, Psycho,
I wish
I would have been like,
besides
you
me
know.
could have saw your face when you said that.
Get the camera out. We'll put it up on.
we gotta get video cameras.
sorry
up
to
there.
Put it up on the
No,
website.
that's understood. Yeah, I still really like this movie. I like Anthony Perkins. I like Janet Leigh. I like the way the movie's filmed. And when I first saw it, I was in high school. Our good friend of the show did the intro, Jason Pritchard, was actually a huge Hitchcock fan before I was, and because of his dad. And so he introduced me to Psycho, The Birds, Rope, like all these great movies. So I really owe a thanks to him, because I probably would not have seen it at the time. I was young, I was naive, it had to be all blood and guts. The black and white stuff wasn't doing it for me at the time like it does now, because like you, it felt like acting had got a lot better. But I don't necessarily think it's gotten better. I just think
It was a
more
different
people
style.
are doing a natural form of dialogue, as opposed to everybody back then
Right.
coming off the stage.
I was just going to
Yeah,
say, like, it seems like
yeah.
every decade seems to have its acting style.
yeah.
You know,
Casablanca is a great film.
Oh,
but,
yeah,
I
but
mean,
no,
their
it's
performances
so
are
stilted.
Staged,
Yeah.
you know, and they're great. It's
Right, the idea
awesome
that
to
like
watch them, but they have
when
a
you see this,
presence
they're
about
performing
them.
for what potentially the audience. Whereas it feels to me now when I see films or over the years, they're like, no, we're actually just in this world. We're not concerned so much with the audience.
Yeah,
In the moment. After it's been filmed and released, then we're concerned with the audience. But as we're filming it, we're not necessarily concerned with their
right.
how they're seeing it. So it feels more like they're in their own world,
Right.
as opposed to the movie trying to bring you in.
Sure. And with movies still being fresh, people are still going to movies, treating it like they're going to a play.
Yeah.
So there's no need to expect any kind of like, you know, brilliant cinematography. It's just your classic shots and everybody's standing across.
I imagine people wore suits to go see this film.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
You're
And
probably
hats.
right.
And hats.
Hats,
right.
yeah.
Hats.
Right.
Lots of hats.
Lots of hats.
Lots
the
of
era
hats.
of hats.
God, so many hats.
That's all I got. Should we get to the categories?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's read the categories. Well, I still have power on my phone.
All right.
So that is Psycho, our opening thought. Shall we get to the categories?
Do it.
I thought you were wrapping up the show. That's
Oh,
what it is.
yeah. That's.
Derek, what are some of your favorite scenes?
Hold on 1 minute. Derek? Hello? Get out of the bathroom. Here we go. Okay. Favorite scenes from Derek. The shower scene is so surprising, and even after knowing it's going to happen, when rewatching, Janet Leigh has such a great performance that it still is shocking. So he chose the shower scene.
I bet he did.
That animal. But he's not wrong. When I saw this movie for the first time, I knew it was coming, but I did not know when. So when it happened, it was still very surprising to me. Again, because it was so early in the film.
Yeah.
And you just ignore all this. There we go. Brian?
Yeah, the shower scene is so iconic. So I couldn't choose it because of that, as much as a great scene as it is. It's when Lila, Vera Miles, goes down into the fruit cellar and discovers Mrs. Bates' mummified body. And then Norman, dressed as his mom, comes down the stairs with the knife.
That is
Surprises the shit out of her.
That's a really good scene.
Yeah.
I thought I would think it was hokey. It actually gave me chills.
Yeah.
Because of
when
the
he
lighting.
comes running in,
Yeah.
I'm like,
The lighting
holy
of
shit.
that
she
shot
whacks that
is
one light
incredible.
bulb when
Yeah.
she throws her hand back.
Yeah. And he comes running down the stairs.
Yeah. He's almost laughing.
It's not graceful. Like, it's not shot in, like, with any kind of style. You hear him coming, and there he is. But that's what makes it look creepy. It looks more real. It looks more natural.
No, yeah, I thought that was great. It was the only part of the movie that I kind of wasn't expecting. Like, I was like, oh, okay, he's going to show up. I didn't think he was going to show up as his mother in that scene. And then he just comes bursting through the door, and I was like, oh, man, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, great. That's a fucking fantastic scene.
That is a great scene.
I really like the way Marion is filmed in the car when she's driving it. My favorite scene is the first bit of her driving in the car where they're playing all the dialogue of all the people back in her town. Her boss and the guy who she stole the money from, her sister, talking to somebody, oh, we haven't seen her in days. And at first it comes, I thought it was just her trying to think of how it would play out in her head.
Right, that's what I was thinking too.
When I'm watching it, but then I'm like, oh no, he's giving you some story without actually having to show it to you. And it adds a lot to the fucking scene. And it looks really cool. I absolutely love the way she looks. And the car's not moving.
Right, it's
right.
a
You just
projection.
know it isn't, but it's still very cool.
Yeah.
It looks great. The other one that I really, really like is, and I said this earlier, when Norman gets her dinner and they're just sitting in the room talking, the conversation. This has been my thing lately. Just these generic conversations that are really not about much of anything, but they're so good. They're both so good in the scene, and it was surprising to me. Again, thinking how I think about black and white films, I was so surprised at how good they were. Because up until that point, I think she's really good in the movie, but every other actor in the movie I just think is like, okay, they're fine. They're doing their job.
Yeah.
And then she meets Norman Bates, and he is like, they're like sparring essentially in that scene. And she's eating, and it's very flirty. And that's like this. If you told me this was going to turn into just like a romantic movie, I probably would have liked it just as much.
Oh, no kidding.
If they
Wow.
ran away together with the money
Uh-huh.
and they, had some adventures, I probably would have liked it just as much. But yeah, those two scenes I thought were fantastic.
Nice.
There's an interesting thing that, and I'll talk about it in one of my favorite scenes, which is the reason I love this film so much, that involves him and her. And I'll get to it in a minute. Aside from the shower scene, because, how can you not talk about that one? I really like Arbogast's death.
How he's falling down the stairs?
Yeah.
Again,
cool.
that
Very cool.
their overhead shot of him creeping into Mama Bates's room, you think he's going to cut to that classic slasher of going into the room and she's going to appear magically behind the door.
Right.
No, she just comes marching out of the room with the knife up and just stabs her. And it's just
Stabs
played
him.
out in real time. Stabs him, excuse me. And the way they film him falling down the stairs, it's hokey, but
Yeah.
hokey in the most fun way possible.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it looked, I know what you mean, but
love
I
it.
think
Like
it
you
looks
can
fantastic.
tell how
Yeah.
they do it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe not hokey, but See,
No, I don't think I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong.
But goofy
yeah.
in like the best possible way, because I like Martin Balsam's in this role. Balsam. I think out of the supporting characters, he's probably the only one with a presence fairly equal to Janet Leigh or Anthony Perkins, and it's because of this cat and mouse scene when Arbogast is questioning Norman Bates at the hotel, and he's acting all friendly, and he's like, "Oh, well, there you go. See, Mommy, you don't remember something now." You say, this reminds me very much of like Willem Dafoe and Christian Bale in American Psycho, the cat and mouse between the cop and the killer, and I swear that they took from this.
They must have.
And this leads me to my next scene. Norman watching the car sink. This is a pivotal moment because this is the first time in the film I remember rooting for a bad guy. You are rooting for when that car stops.
Stops sinking.
Your heart jumps. And then when it starts sinking
he kind of like pauses and like, oh shit, what do I do now?
And
it's not going down.
Right, and you pause with him.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh good, it's sinking again. But you don't want it to, right? He's the bad guy.
Yeah.
You want him to get caught. No, you don't, because you're on Norman's side. Just like you were
He's won us over.
You were on Marion Crane's side when she's trying to get away from the cop. You root for the bad people in this film.
Yeah.
And now we root for Freddie and Jason and Michael because they become like rock stars. But for I love Night of the Hunter, but I was never rooting for Robert Mitchum in that movie.
No.
I like Kathy Bates, but she's great to watch, but I was still rooting for James Caan at the end. Yeah. This film, I'm rooting for Norman Bates, and I'm rooting for the bad people in this film, and that is why I love this movie. That's why it ranks at the top of the Hitchcock totem pole for me.
Out of you.
It does. We love our bad guys,
yeah.
And I mean that had to be something back then, especially back then, just something a lot of movies weren't doing. We sympathized with the anti-hero, the gunslingers, but people that just killed, and we're rooting for them to get away with it. That doesn't happen too often.
No, it doesn't. It's funny that you bring up that scene with Norman and Arbogast when Arbogast is questioning him about the register and, are you sure that nobody's come by? Because you just said, but it's just, there's one shot where he's like, Norman kind of looks sideways, like his whole...
Is it when they're shooting from underneath and he's looking over?
He kind of looks sideways at the register.
Yeah,
I love that scene, and he's got his bag of candy corn. He's just so cool and calm, but you can tell he's got like this nervousness underneath him. It's just a fantastic scene. I love that exchange between the two of them.
I do too,
and I'm glad you brought that up because I love that as well.
Yeah, and you have this like up until that point, he's very like charming with. Marion Crane.
He's charming with me. And he's childlike with Arbogast.
With Arbogast,
he's like kid.
Stuttering and can't get it together. And there's some pushback, and you're like, oh, okay, he's not as cool as I thought he was.
Right.
He kind of gets it back when the other couple comes to visit or comes to investigate.
Right.
But at that point, Arbogast really has him on the ropes, and he's just like, I don't even know what to do now. I just no, you can't see my mother.
Yeah.
And then after hearing the story of what happened to him at the end, and then rewatching the movie, you watch those same scenes again, and they're even better because you have even a better understanding of Norman
what makes
Bates.
him tick.
Yeah. So those are and I also liked Marion driving with the music playing and the dialogue, the scene you were talking about. I like it because she has this look on her face. This is acting. She's driving a car with an obvious fake background, and she's doing the wheel thing, the old school turn the wheel, but as the dialogue's playing in her head, she has these mannerisms and facial expressions where you can't take your eyes off of her. I'm telling you, it's phenomenal.
No, it's great, and you can tell that she's afraid.
Yep.
She knows she took this money, but she doesn't know what's going to happen next.
Right.
If it's going to work out for her, did she make the right decision? It's all on her face.
Yep.
She's not saying anything.
And then when they play back the part about the money guy saying, she was even flirting with me. She even cracks a little smile at that part. Like she's hearing these thoughts in her head, and she's like, yeah, I'm fucking awesome. I'm pretty awesome. So those are it.
What doesn't work for me? Derek.
Derek. Most everything works. I wish there were a few more kills, but this movie is a classic for a reason. So more kills for Derek. He needs a few more kills.
Yeah, I'll go into it later. But 2 kills I think is fine for the movie because it's an old movie. Mm-hmm. Just the one, again, based on everything I read about this film after the fact, just the one shower kill was enough to set America on fire.
Right.
So the second one is, and it's a cool kill, but anything after that is, I wasn't upset that there weren't more.
Right. So I see where he's coming from. If you're like watching this and you're expecting a slasher film, you're gonna want more kills. But like he said, it's a classic. But I think any more kills, the movie would have turned goofier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just the right amount of violence, and I think it's the right amount of believable violence in the story.
Yeah.
Anything beyond that, then it gets too fantasy,
becomes
too fictional.
What the slasher genre became,
Right.
essentially.
Yeah, it becomes the sequels, actually, which the sequels aren't bad, I think. I don't think the
He's
sequels
in all
are
of them,
bad.
right?
Yeah, he's in all of them.
Perkins,
And if you are a fan of Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates, definitely check out the second one and check out the fourth one. The third one's all right. But
Here's a fun fact. I saw Psycho 2 in the movie theater.
Oh, no kidding.
Without ever having seen the original Psycho.
Oh, that's interesting.
I was in high school or maybe not even high school. I forget when do you remember when Psycho 2 came out? It was in the 80s.
It was in the 80s, early 80s for sure. But
I saw it was after he died. It might have been like 83 or 84.
After who died?
Hitchcock.
Oh, Hitchcock. Yeah, Hitchcock died in 80. But yeah, I had never seen the first one. I remember my mom wanted to see Psycho 2 because she was so
83.
freaked out by the original that we had to all go see it.
Yeah, it was definitely early because Tom Holland wrote the screenplay, Fright Night director, not Spider-Man actor. And this was before Fright Night or Cloak and Dagger, I think, even. So
He wrote Cloak and Dagger.
I think he directed it.
Oh.
He might have written it. I'm not sure. One or the other.
Yeah.
1983.
Dabney Coleman and Elliot. Elliot?
Henry Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
Henry
remember that
Thomas,
movie.
fun fact, plays young Norman Bates in Psycho 4, the beginning.
No kidding.
Which is essentially a prequel.
It's all connected.
It is. Henry Thomas does a great job.
Nice.
What doesn't work for you, Brian?
So I put down almost everything in this movie works for me. The only thing that kind of bugged me where I really had to struggle to nitpick was the scene in the police station after Norman is brought in and the detectives and the psychologist are going over Norman's case.
Yeah.
It just seems like, and granted, this is a 60-year-old film. We know a lot more about the human psyche now, but it just seems like they were just jumping to such conclusions. Even the psychologist didn't even really sound like he knew what he was talking about.
Right.
And then that one detective that jumps, he's like, "Oh, so he's a transvestite."
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And he the guy does correct him, but still, I'm like, yeah, no, that part just didn't. I think we could have done without that scene.
The prognosis
and just
is a
left
little
it with
outdated.
Norman, doing that monologue in his head about like, I'm not even gonna hurt that fly, and that was chilling. Loved it.
I would agree. I kind of agree with that.
I don't think we needed that little like them trying to rationalize
that little
Norman and trying to-
exposition
I
part.
didn't need that.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I'll buy that
I
for
agree.
$1. Yeah.
What doesn't work for me? I like the opening scene is fine. I think
Mm-hmm.
watching them like make out, talk it turns my stomach.
Is that
It's some of the worst
general
kissing
or
I've ever
just
seen in a
This
movie.
movie.
You don't like
It's
the
just
pillow talk?
Bad. It's just bad because they're
It's
like
just what we call pillow talk, baby.
they're kind of trying to make out, but they're not making out, and they're also talking at the same time. And I get the idea of how important or taboo it was that you have this unmarried couple in bed and she's in her undies and they're kissing and they're
And
kind
she's
of
telling him to
about
put his shoes on, which implies that
Yeah.
at some point he didn't have his pants
you know,
on.
pants
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I'm late, and you've got to put your shoes on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
maybe they'll, get to do this in front of people, not sex, but like be together in front of people. And so
I do
like
like
the scene, I
that
just
line,
don't
though.
like
I
the
do like that
acting.
line. And then after dinner, turn mother's picture to the wall,
Oh,
send
yeah.
sister to the movie.
Yeah, just the I don't know.
There's some of that in Rear Window,
the
too.
acting-
Fair warning.
The kiss acting, I wasn't a fan of.
I get that.
This I just don't understand. Who hired Arbogast?
That's never
wasn't
really
it Vera
said.
Miles, I thought.
But then they show up anyway.
Oh, no, it was...
Was it the boss?
It was the boss.
Okay.
The boss. It was either the boss or the cowboy gambler.
I-
thing.
I can't
Every
figure
time-
out why he's so concerned with what Sam and her sister think about anything.
It's a job.
if
He's
they're
looking
not
for
paying
clues.
him. But then
Because
he keeps reporting back to them. So I don't understand
Well,
why.
you report back to them, you get the clues, then
Yeah.
you
Well, you
bring what you
report-
got to the boss.
Well, I
That
don't
guy
think
had a
report back
lot
to
of
the-
money.
Yeah,
That guy had a
I think
lot
it's
of
because
money.
they were there, like doing the same thing. They were there looking for answers as well, and so he had somebody that he could like bounce, ideas and like you said, clues off of.
Yeah, a good
So that's
detective
why.
leaves no stone unturned.
Yeah, I just felt like he was. They were too involved in whatever he was trying to do. He was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go interview the mother." It's like, why do they need to know?
Yeah.
But
They're
yeah,
not
you're
paying
you're
you.
right, Tito. It's never really.
He doesn't say where he
He
comes
doesn't
from.
really say.
Yeah.
It's not concretely established who he's working for, who hired him to. Track down
So
the money.
I just assumed it was the boss because he talks about the money.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
what I'm
how would he
thinking,
know?
too.
So
about
did
that?
I. So did I.
I let that one go.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I
Yeah.
just at one point I was just like, wait a minute, who hired this guy? Why the fuck does he care about the sister?
Because if they had showed it,
And
it
the
would have
lover.
slowed the movie down. We don't need to. We don't need it. We don't need a whole scene with the boss hiring the detective.
No, yeah.
for me,
I
you know?
agree. I agree.
But,
I got another one, but it bleeds into the next category, so I'm gonna save it.
okay. All right. What doesn't work for me? The remake, the shot by shot remake.
Oh, I remember
was
when it came out, but I never
That
saw
was an
it.
insult
I've
not
never
only to
seen
this movie, but movie fans in general of the '90s, thinking that the late '90s audience wouldn't accept a black and white film.
All the dialogue is completely
All
the
the
same.
dialogue,
too, right?
well, yeah, but they add in a few scenes of very odd and perverse stuff. Norman Bates masturbating while looking at Marion, for example. When
Oh, through
William
the
H.
hole?
Macy, who plays Arbogast, the Slash.
which is odd because it's Anne Heche.
Yeah.
Who would do
Who
that to begin
masturbates.
with?
When
Ellen.
William H. Macy is killed,
She broke a nail.
when William H. Macy, who's playing Arbogast, gets killed in this one, they shoot to a girl in a pink dress standing with a lamb for some reason. It's like a quick flash shots of weird Freudian looking things.
Huh.
There's no need for it. It's a fucking, it's an awful remake. It's probably one of the worst things. It's probably my most hated
I'll never see it.
films.
so
Don't ever see
don't
it.
feel-
Don't.
feel bad.
As for what doesn't work for this film, you guys bring up some good points. I didn't think about it. The opening shot is fine. I don't need the kiss talk either. It's there to establish that she, it has to be there to
I
establish
don't mind
that
them
she has
making
to run
out.
away,
I just
but
don't think they're very good at it.
kiss talking.
I just
in
don't think they're good at
general,
making out.
It's kind of weird for me though. I don't mean in just this film. It is. It's like because I'm not doing it. It's like, well, I'm not making out with Grace Kelly or Janet Leigh, so why should I watch you do it? You
Yeah.
know, screw you,
I
Sam.
just think they're terrible at it.
She'll lick the stamps.
She'll-
But for most part, this movie still works for me. Pretty much everything.
Yeah.
All right.
What you guys said, I kind of agree with actually. But
It
it's all
works.
good.
It's all good.
Does anything work for me, Derek?
Derek, what works for you?
Is there something about a
The
blocked
cast
punt
is-
in there? Something about blocking punts.
No, nothing. No.
Oh no!
No, believe it or not. The cast is great. The camera work and the hotel house setting, and of course the music.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Agreed.
Yep, Bernard Herrmann.
Brian?
Does anything work for me? Yes, Norman's nerdy and charming demeanor is very disarming and puts almost everyone that he's with at ease, which makes it difficult to believe that he's this unassuming man boy. Oh, that this unassuming man boy is cold and calculating as a killer.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah,
Nice.
I
He's
like
so
the way
good.
Norman or Anthony Perkins acted as Norman. It was just we had just said it before. He was charming, he was disarming, and he just totally threw everybody off until he needed to strike.
Yeah, he's kind of the range is there,
Yeah.
man. Because even like talking to Arbogast, he's afraid. He starts stuttering. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
all believable. And then
Talking
when he
about-
plays crazy, you're just like, this
Right.
motherfucker's insane.
Yep, talking about changing the linens, whether it needs to or not.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, just to
He's
throw him
making
off
these
these little
great
details.
quips.
Yeah.
You want to change the sheets with me? Can we change the
It
sheets?
just has that, I don't know, musty, creepy smell.
Yeah.
So this bleeds into my what does and doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
They're really good at hiding her bits in that shower scene.
Yeah, they are.
It works for me. It's amazing how well they are at doing it. But what doesn't work for me is that I don't get to see them because I bet she looks amazing without clothes on.
I'm sure she does. I'm sure she does.
It fucking works for me. How it's shot, it's so effective. I was surprised watching it. Like, oh, she's fucking naked. Mm-hmm. But they're hiding everything
Yeah.
so well.
Right.
But they're still showing enough
Yeah.
to make a 1960s whoever uncomfortable if they were watching the
right.
movie.
Yeah.
So I thought that was amazing.
Well, that stems into have more kills in it. If you have more nudity and more kills, then it becomes exploitation. It becomes a grindhouse film.
Right.
And it's not going to show in the Grand Marquee. It's going to show on Broadway somewhere.
Yeah,
somewhere.
right.
Yeah.
And here's what really works for me. It is the way Marion interacts with the police. I absolutely fucking love it.
I love it. Yeah.
I love it. I put Marion talking to the police as wild. Did I break the law? Why do you need to see my ID?
Yeah.
She turns her back to the cop.
Yeah.
This is insane. Like, people don't do things like this. I
Right.
fucking love it.
Back then they did, apparently.
Back then they did. Yeah. She's
She
just like,
buys a new car
Yeah.
with the cop watching.
I know.
Actually, okay, let me go back. Something does not work for me.
Is that scene?
That scene.
Yeah.
That scene
Buying
does
the
not
car
work.
with-
I
That
didn't
kinda
think
bugs
about
me
it
too.
until you said it. That bugs me, not because she's trading the car, because the cop's watching her do
the
it.
entire
It does
time.
nothing.
Everything she did
Yeah.
to get that car is pointless
suspicious.
because the cop saw her doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that bugs me.
You probably
that
don't need
doesn't
that
work for
scene
me.
at all.
No, you don't.
It
Her
could-
getting away from the cop.
It could make sense if, like, it's
Oh,
something
that
Arbogast
might
uses.
tie into Arbogast.
Arbogast uses to kind of
Yeah,
find her,
okay.
then it makes sense to me.
Right.
Right.
But yeah, that whole scene, I was like, man, I fucking love this lady. Why do you need to see my ID? I'm like,
Yep.
damn, that's how I want to talk to the police. What did I break the law? I was just sleeping in my car.
No, as I
you
said, I
didn't.
was asleep. Only
well,
I
then
have
can
to
I get the hell out of
yeah,
here?
only I have to go somewhere, and you're keeping me from doing that.
Fucking loved it.
It's because she was a
loved it.
pretty woman.
I rewound
Starring
it.
Julia
You know
Roberts.
what?
She was a beautiful girl. If
I loved
if
it.
I had done that, boom, forget it. I got to be somewhere.
Yeah.
Am I breaking the law?
Not today, Chud.
Yeah, right. Not today.
Out of the
Chuck.
car.
But yeah, I absolutely fucking loved it.
That is good. That is a good scene. Yeah, and Alfred Hitchcock was afraid of cops, genuinely afraid of
Yeah,
cops. That's
I
why
remember
that was
that.
in there.
Oh, I didn't know
He
that.
had a
Okay.
phobia of the police.
Something happened.
The story is that his dad wanted to teach him a lesson, so he sent him to the police station
Oh,
with
I've
a
heard about
note.
this. Yeah.
With a note, and he didn't know what the note said. He gave it to the cop, and the cop put him in a jail cell, and then said, "This is what we do to little boys who don't behave."
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Remember when
And
you could
ever
scar
since-
your kids this way?
Yeah,
for
and then
discipline?
ever since then, he's had this innate fear of police and authority.
That's
and,
insane.
Yeah. You could do that back then.
It's like the Bluths in Arrested
Oh,
Development.
yeah.
With the guy with the arm.
Oh, the
This is
son
why
there?
you remember to lock up the banana shack before you go or whatever. He would always, anytime he tried to teach his kids a lesson, he would hire the guy with no arm.
That's when they brought cops to school to scare the kids. One of you is going to die in a drunken
Yeah.
accident.
Yep.
I remember.
Scared straight.
Yeah, scared straight.
True.
Excuse me. Makes me burp.
Does anything work for you, Mark? What does work for you?
What does work for me? The music works for me. Huge fan of Bernard Herrmann, and I love this score. Again, this is another example of the music being a character in the film.
Yeah.
Anthony Perkins works for me. He makes this film hands down. Janet Leigh is awesome. The supporting cast is great, but Anthony Perkins makes this movie. He makes you fall in love with the killer.
And she was very big outside
She
of being
was.
Tony Curtis's lady.
Yeah.
And Jamie Lee Curtis's mom.
Yep.
She was like a fairly
She was
popular
a star. She was a star, which is why it was
at
so
the time.
shocking that they
Okay.
killed her right away, because she was such a superstar back
Yeah.
then.
Okay.
And again, Anthony Perkins is not what Norman Bates is like in the book. Sarah was telling me because she read Robert Bloch's Psycho.
Oh, really?
And Anthony Perkins is more like me, bald, fat. Like nobody would eat sandwiches in a parlor
Yeah.
with me. You got to get like a charming guy to make this work.
He was based on Ed Gein.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
or
But
Guy.
he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was a little
Yeah.
more like Danny DeVito, throw Mama from the Train-ish, not tall, good-looking Anthony
Yeah,
Perkins.
slim,
But it
handsome.
works.
Yeah.
It works here, and he sells it, and he can still be just as menacing. And again, if you see some of the sequels, he really takes that character to heart and does some great stuff with
Well,
it.
right. If you're her and you show up to that motel in the middle of
In
the
the
night,
rain, yeah.
and that's the guy who approaches, you're like, oh, this guy's good looking. He's
You
got to
make it believable.
He brought me some food, even though his mom yelled at him.
Yeah.
He's a good dude. He's a good dude.
No one brought up the God, mother, blood,
Oh,
blood.
we're getting there.
Oh, okay.
We're
I'll be
getting
quiet.
there.
And finally, the story, which I gotta give credit to Robert Bloch as much as I do Psycho. This is a great This is a great movie. This is a great story. This is modern America, again, done at a time when a lot of stories like this were not being written. You know, the monster was always identified by fangs, claws. It wasn't your everyday sort of guy, you know? I mean, this stuff was just surfacing with Ed Gein. This was all new. And Robert Bloch takes this story, what could have just been a simple money heist kind of story, or a guilt trip woman trying to make amends for, and just turns it, just goes left field with it.
Totally.
And,
could have been a sleazy, pulpy story.
It could have been,
But nope.
I appreciate that every so often they mention the fact that, oh, the road used to be here.
Oh, yeah, the highway.
We're further away now. And like the expansion of America and this motel that got left behind.
Right.
Because he might be a little bit different if there were people constantly in and out of that motel and staying there and generating revenue. And maybe he's not as concerned with his mother and the guy that
Or he could have been a lot worse
banging,
because he's got more
or he could
people
have
to
killed
kill.
more people. Right.
Well, I mean, again, without giving too much away in the sequels, but especially the fourth film, I mean, that whole expansion sets off a chain of events, starting with the mom.
Yeah.
And her
They made a
boyfriend at the
TV
time.
show.
They
didn't
did, Base Motel.
Base
And I
Motel?
watched like the first 2 seasons of it, but I never finished the series.
I never saw it. Sarah saw it. She liked it
It was
a lot.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She liked
It's
it a
got
lot.
Vera Farmiga plays Mrs. Bates, and Freddie Highmore plays Norman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this had to be in the 80s, maybe like the early 90s. I'm not sure, but there was a made-for-TV movie called Bates Motel.
There was.
Well, actually, it might have been a show with Bud Cort. And
Harold and Maude?
Yeah.
Harold and Maude's Bud Cort, who inherits the hotel from Norman Bates, who has died.
Oh, is that what it is?
And every episode, something weird would happen in the hotel. But it never made it past the two-hour pilot. I believe this is what happened. But Tankro was in it. Lori Petty was
Lori
in
Petty.
it.
That's right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I caught it once somewhere on TV. I can't remember where. But that's another fun fact.
Best quote, favorite quote?
Oh, I got a couple here.
You want to start with Derek?
I'll start with Derek. She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes. Sometimes Saturday night has a lonely sound. You ever notice that, Lila? That's a good quote. And that's it. That's all he's got.
Those are good. I like those.
How about you, Sir Brian?
I have, and these are all from Norman, a boy's best friend is his mother. And then, mother, oh God, mother, blood. And the one that Derek just mentioned, she just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes, don't you?
I didn't realize how quotable this film was because as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh, I've heard that. I've heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like just
Because we've done the blood, oh God, mother, blood thing.
yeah, but even like a boy's best friend is his mom.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's like
We
just
all
quotes.
go a little
We
mad
all go a little mad sometimes.
Yeah.
Billy
Like
Loomis's kill in
right.
Oh, yeah.
in Scream. He says that before shooting Jamie Kennedy.
Oh, my God, you're right.
And
I
he
totally
became the
forgot
hero
about
of the
that.
movie for me. And
He becomes the hero in the newer
Because he
ones.
used that
The
quote?
Spirit of the hero.
No, because he shot Jamie Kennedy. He shot Randy.
So it was a twofer.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Randy. I love Randy. As much as I dislike the making out, when she says you make respectability sound disrespectful,
That's a
I
good
think
one.
that's such a fucking great line.
That is a great line.
I wanted to use that on somebody someday. But also, and you said this earlier, I'll lick the stamp.
Yeah.
Could not stop laughing.
Yeah.
So many implications.
Yeah, I know.
So many. I'll lick the stamp. I was like, oh my God.
I'll bet you would.
Please. Please,
Return to
Marion.
You can
sender.
do the start or finish there.
And then Norman, I absolutely love this line. A hobby is supposed to pass the time, not fill it. I thought that was a fucking great line from my favorite scene of the film. But yeah, those are my three.
Nice. I've got also, well, a boy's best friend is his mother. I have headaches are like resolutions. You forget them as soon as they stop hurting. That's a great Janet Leigh quote.
Great line.
And we're always quickest to double people who have a reputation for being honest. I love that quote as well. So those were three that I really love. And the scream in the shower. That's it.
Nice.
Is it Derek? Is it too long, too short? What's missing? What don't we need?
More kills needed, and it can be slightly slow at parts, but not enough to really complain.
Okay.
That's what he's got there.
I was surprised when I saw how long it was. I was like, oh, an hour and 54 minutes. It doesn't drag for
It
me.
flies.
No,
It
Honestly,
it
doesn't
feels more like
drag
an
for
hour
me
and a
at
half,
all.
doesn't it?
It's a quick
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing, I don't know. Because it's because I've never seen the movie. I was waiting for Janet Leigh to die for what felt like forever. I'm like, oh wait, when's she gonna die? When's she gonna die? I know she dies. When is it gonna happen?
Yeah.
But in the middle of that, I'm like, man, she's so good. I don't want her to leave, but I
Right?
know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna happen, so I imagine never having known, probably being devastated.
Yep. You fell in love with
When
her.
she dies.
And you were rooting for her.
Yeah.
To get
100%.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she was gonna turn the money back in.
Yep.
She was making that decision to go back and bring the money back and face the consequences, and that was when
Exactly.
Norman struck.
Norman kills her. But then instead of booing Norman, we quickly side with him.
Yeah.
So it bums me out a little. I boo him a little bit because I really, really, I loved
like
her.
Janet.
Yeah.
And if she didn't bring the money back, the whole time I'm thinking like, she just stole 40 grand. Fuck your boss.
Yeah.
Fuck this
He
dude
was a-
that
yeah,
won't
he
take
was a
me out.
jerk.
He won't take me out in public. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to recognize me.
Yeah.
I don't need any of these guys. I just got
Yeah.
40 grand. I'm gonna fucking
Yeah.
go
Live
to
my
Vegas
life.
and be a showgirl or whatever the fuck
Yeah.
I want to do.
Yeah.
I was like,
in
dude.
1960 money, that was probably like a half
Yeah,
a million
right.
bucks.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was rooting for her to just say fuck everybody and just start new and fresh and have a fucking awesome life because she's a catch. But yeah, that's fucking.
But would she, though? Would she go back and really do it? See, we never know. She says she's going to go and do it. But once you meet her sister, who, nothing against Vera Miles, she's not very, I just don't like her in the movie. She's very short-tempered with everybody trying to help her. She's
desperate.
She's desperate, but she's also very condescending and rude to people.
I think I can forgive her.
And I'm like, well, what was their relationship like? She hadn't talked to her in a long time.
Yeah.
There was hint that they had a troubled relationship. So I feel like at any moment, Marion would be driving, hearing another set of voices, and be like, on second thought, I'll just go.
Do we assume that Sam ends up with the sister?
I think so.
Yes,
Right?
we do.
I don't love it.
I don't love it either. And because
Loomis.
that
name again.
I can't remember the actor who plays him either. I
Yeah.
used to know this.
I can look it up. It's
Look
right
it up
here.
because it's
John
good.
Gavin.
Okay,
John
John Gavin
Gavin
and Vera Miles are probably the least interesting people in this film to me. you
That's
know?
why Arbogast is so great.
Yeah.
Because they all show up around the same time.
Right, and Arbogast kind of helps carry them along with their scenes together. Tito, what? No,
No,
Brian.
me.
I'm
Brian.
sorry. Yeah.
Is it too long, too short? I put it's perfect. With the exception of that scene with all the cops discussing Norman at the very end, there's no fat on this movie.
Yeah.
I got the police and doctor debating transvestites. At the time, it probably was whatever, but me watching it now, it's just like, well, this is fucking weird.
Yeah, that's
And
how I
surprising.
feel about it.
That was probably the
now,
most
too.
surprising thing about the
Yeah.
movie to me. I was like, they're talking about fucking transvestites? What a fucking
I know.
He's just dressing like his mother.
I know.
It makes sense to me.
Has nobody ever seen RuPaul? What the hell is... Oh,
He
yeah,
killed
they
his
haven't.
mom. He feels bad. She's in his head. He dresses like her. He pretends to be her.
No, but they
He's
would
in-
have.
They
They would have
fucking
seen
insane.
Glenn or Glenda had they
that's
released
true.
the movie.
That's
so,
true.
Yeah.
And then I don't know why this really bothers
old Ed
me,
Wood.
but watching somebody mop a tub, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like the look of it.
Uh-huh.
It was like the makeout scene. I just don't like the look of it. When he got the mop and he started mopping the tub, and I was like, I don't want to go into that tub now. You just fucking
don't have
mopped
to.
it. You just mopped the fucking
You're not
tub.
there, but you're there to watch him, and see if he cleverly
I don't mind. I like
just hides his
yeah.
his what's the word?
Evidence?
Kill. Evidence. Thank you.
yeah. I don't-
He covers his tracks.
He should clean.
Yeah.
I just don't. He should mop the floor, not the tub.
Just
That's all I'm
stay
saying.
away from the tub.
Stay away from the tub.
Okay.
Back then, you didn't have to do that good of a job. There was no DNA.
That's true.
There was-
You
yeah.
There
just-
was nothing like that.
A little
As lo- as
Windex
long as-
all-purpose.
right.
You
Just
were
water.
fine.
As long as
Splash some
everything
water
looks,
on it.
as long as everything looks shiny white, there's not a trace of blood. You're all good.
And I had Arbogast on here, but you guys have both convinced me that we need him in this movie. 'Cause I was
right.
watching the movie and I was thinking, I don't know that I need this guy.
Mm-hmm.
I like his death, but it just feels like, as I was watching, I was like, I don't know that I need him. But then I started thinking about the scene
But you
with
need
him and-
somebody else to go up against Norman.
Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
think he really is one of the other, besides Anthony Perkins and Janet Leigh, like one of the better characters
Right.
and actors in the film.
Yeah.
He's really good in the part that he's playing. So I do actually I take that back.
Okay.
I'm going to take it back. You didn't need to know about it, but I'm going to tell you about it.
Okay.
Your turn.
Which one? Okay. No, it's the perfect length, baby. I love it from start to finish. I don't think it's too long or too short. I think it's just right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
quick.
I
It
agree.
moves quick for me. There are scenes in it I don't need, but it's not enough personally to slow the movie down for me. I mean, I've seen it so many times. If a scene comes on, like the doctor scene or the ending scene, I will sit through the cops talking about the transvestites stuff because it leads to that great shot at the end.
Oh, absolutely. But I just wish we could go right
I
to
wish
that
we could, but it's
scene of
the
Norman.
payoff is worth sitting
maybe
through it for
hear a
me.
little bit of their conversation in the background.
Yeah.
Like, while Norman's
yeah.
sitting there and then the close-up
that's
gets
kinda
closer
cool.
and closer.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool idea.
But you don't need the whole thing of like, okay, just come on, let's get to Norman.
It's an exposition.
Yeah,
part.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's true. But
The only scene I can think of where I was just like, this is boring, is when Arbogast goes to find Sam and the sister in the store.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Or
Tells the
even
guy-
when they're questioning
when he
the
tells the guy
sheriff
to go
for
eat
dinner.
lunch, he's like, I brought a lunch. He's like,
Yeah.
we'll go eat it.
Yeah.
I did like that line. I was like, all right, good. That was a good.
Or they're talking to the old sheriff outside the church and his wife. Oh, come
yeah.
in.
Yeah.
You don't need any of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's,
Well,
it's there
actually,
to
you
fill
did
it.
because that's when they tell him that Norman's mom had died in the murder-suicide previously.
Yeah,
Before
but
that,
that was a scene before the
Was
church
it?
scene, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the
So
sheriff...
I know it was him that reveals that Norman's
No,
mom
he
had
does,
died.
but that's when they first talk.
All
This is
right.
when they talk again, and they invite him to dinner, and we talked to Norman, and Vera Miles didn't believe her because Vera Miles doesn't believe anybody in that movie. She's like, I know something's up, and I get it.
very
She's the
suspicious.
smartest one, but
Yeah.
she's so fucking rude to everybody.
I would have rather they had not said anything or there had been any connection to the sheriff where that information about his mother dying
Right.
is
Yeah.
given. Because then you're like, oh, there's a
Well,
little
what the hell's
clue to
going
you,
on
like,
then?
Yeah.
Because then maybe that scene at the end,
Would have been more
despite the
shocking.
transvestite stuff,
Yeah.
it probably would have been more needed. So
Yeah,
maybe it's just
right.
more. It's just more of the same kind of repeated,
Yeah, yeah.
with extra words.
Exactly. Maybe
Okay,
because we had
yeah.
already had that, halfway through the film, we didn't really, it was unnecessary at the end.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you remove the music score, does the film hold up?
It's so iconic, but not sure the film wouldn't survive without the music that's in it. That's his. I would have to agree, Brian.
Yeah, I put absolutely not. I said the score by Bernard Herrmann, especially the shower stabbing music, is as iconic as John Williams' Jaws theme.
Agreed.
Yeah, this movie, the music is a character in itself.
Yep.
So I agree. Where I think it can is because it's so specific and new. The idea for the 60s, that type of movie, without the music, I think it could still be pretty effective
Yeah.
and really interesting because the acting is really good in certain areas. But the music, my favorite, that when she's driving the car.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I love it. And I'm listening to it. I'm like, I know that. And I know it because Busta Rhymes sampled that for Give Me Some More. And I was like, this is fucking Busta Rhymes. What am I listening
So
to?
I knew there was a rapper that used this music.
It was
Because
it was
I
Busta
remember,
Rhymes.
so I remember back in college, I did a report on credit sequences and how fascinated they could be.
Yeah.
And one of them was the title credits for Psycho done by Saul Bass with that music.
Oh, the opening
And-
credits.
Yeah, the opening credits.
Yeah.
And two of my classmates were like, that's Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
no, that's Bernard Herrmann.
No,
what the hell are you
yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah.
about?
Of
But
course.
then they explained it to me. That's
Yeah.
right. I
Dude,
forgot. Yeah.
I'm watching I know. That's all I know. That part of the score I was not familiar with. It's a fantastic piece of music.
The entire opening credits music is also reused in Reanimator.
Yeah.
They use
Yeah.
the exact same music.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
as
they
the
rip
theme
it
for
off.
Reanimator.
Charles Band rips it off.
Yep.
But he changes it
Very
just
slightly.
enough.
Theirs goes da-na-na-na-na-na, while ours goes.
That's the extra ching.
That's pretty much it. But at least Charles Band admits it.
Yeah.
He admits, oh yeah, we totally ripped off.
Oh,
Psycho.
yeah.
Whereas Vanilla Ice does not.
But yeah, great score. And I was just like, holy shit, this is fucking Busta Rhymes. I know it's not Busta Rhymes, but it's Busta Rhymes.
So yeah, no, I I think the movie's watchable, but it's better with the music. I don't know if it would work as well. The shower scene wouldn't work. All the snooping around with the doesn't work. I mean, without the music.
Right.
It works with the music.
Yeah.
What you just brought up with the car driving.
The driving
and the music,
scene.
it absolutely works. But it knows when it's not needed. This music knows when it can step back and let silence be golden, where it's Norman Bates sinking the car and covering his tracks. There's no music during that part, and it's very effective. So that kind of shows that this film might still be interesting. It could still work, but I don't know if I would want to see it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a fairly based on what I hear about the film, a fairly groundbreaking movie.
Yeah.
In the genre, so I think that alone could carry it. How does it stack up, Derek?
Derek says, for classic horror slashers, it's higher middle. Hitchcock films, middle.
Okay.
All right. Brian?
So I put high for Hitchcock movies, for slasher films, for thrillers. It's kind of top of the list.
Okay.
I got no frame of reference for Hitchcock, so it's going to number 1. It's a very good movie. I really enjoyed it. So until I see some more, that's as much as I can give it. It's really, really good. As far as slasher movies go, it helps create something.
Yep.
That John Carpenter refines and then really gives it to the world. But there's some really cool, interesting ideas, and especially for the time that it came out, pretty amazing stuff. So I would put it higher in the horror slasher genre. Top billings. Yeah, especially for what it inspired.
Nice.
Agreed. Hitchcock movies, it's at the top for me. For slasher films, it's higher middle because it could be seen as the first knife movie for sure, but for me, a slasher film, if I'm in the mood for a slasher film, I'm not going to go for Psycho.
Sure.
I'm going to go for Psycho when I just want to see an awesome movie. If I'm in the mood for slasher, I want more kills, I want gore, and there are a slew of them that offer that more than Psycho does.
Yeah.
That being said, like you said, Tito, it did pave the way for it, and we have Black Christmas because of it. We have Halloween, so it does deserve the higher middle respect.
I would also throw it into the Silence of the Lambs of the world.
Yes, absolutely.
It's probably more in line with that kind of horror.
Well, because again, Ed Gein, another
right. But yeah, even with those movies, those I don't know what we call elevated. I don't know. I don't thrillers, psychological thriller.
Yeah,
I didn't watch a lot of films from the 60s, and I don't watch a lot of films from the 60s. But the idea of that psychological thriller that's done so well, and like a Silence of the Lambs, this is doing it just as well, I think.
Yeah.
So I'd probably put it high up in there as well. What do we got? If the movie had a post-credit?
Derek has maybe a shot of the now empty house and the girl tied up but alive somewhere.
Okay.
Brian?
I put the one that we got with Norman and the Fly is kind of like a post-credit scene.
Yeah.
But they really did have almost a post-credit scene, or at least a scene that was going while the credits were rolling, and that's them pulling
the car
Marion's car out of the swamp, sealing Norman's fate because the evidence is there. And and so I said we don't really need one because that's what we already got.
Yep.
Plus 3 sequels. If you want more Norman, there you go.
Yeah. I couldn't think of one thing for this that's not in there. The car coming out is fine, but the way the movie ends is with Norman and his mother's voice. It's just so good.
It is.
Anything extra would just kind of ruin
that
it,
little
probably.
flash too of the skull face,
yeah.
That's all you need.
It's
right at the end,
so good.
Just before it fades away to the car being pulled out, and at the end.
I got nothing. I don't want to. I wouldn't fuck with this movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the same. Nothing's needed. They did everything they needed to do.
Better ending, Derek?
No, it's a great ending. The inner thought of Norman I think it is awesome. His inner thoughts.
Yep, the inner monologue.
She wouldn't even hurt a fly.
Yep, I love that.
No, there is no better ending.
Yeah, I put the same thing.
Nope.
Yep, I love the way it ended.
Agreed across the board.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss, baby. If you like this movie, you might also like
Derek has more of
Brie
Hitchcock.
Larson? Oh.
Really, more of Brie Larson.
All right.
More of Hitchcock movies.
Imogen Poots.
Really.
Imogen Poots.
Does this at all make you want? Because I'm gonna just keep saying her name, so I'm glossing over it because it's fun to say. Does this make you want to watch more Hitchcock films or check them out?
Yes,
by any,
I would,
by any-
absolutely.
All right, cool.
I would watch more Hitchcock
Nice.
films.
Because that's
Yes.
what he has. And Motel Hell is a great movie too.
Oh, wow.
Is that a
recommend
Hitchcock film?
No,
No.
but it's a great movie.
Yeah.
Motel
You
Hell.
and Dean talked about that
Yes,
one
we
not that long
did.
ago.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. Check out one of our past episodes. Me? So
You.
I put if you like this film, you might also like I put Misery, Rope, Night of the Hunter, Carrie, and Silence of the Lambs. I'm just trying to think of movies that were that had unassuming like killers. So yeah.
Yeah, Misery, Halloween I put, and then Silence of the Lambs I put.
Nice.
Those are the only ones I could think. I haven't seen any Hitchcock films, but if this is, again, you guys all seem to really like this movie, but are saying that there are others that he did that you like even more.
Yeah.
Then I can only imagine what
Well,
of his
outside
I'd
of
see
the
that I would really like.
Birds, his other films are
Oh,
more.
right, he did that movie
Yeah,
too.
outside of
Yeah.
that and this, his other films are more thrillers with like motives you understand.
Yeah, or mistaken
They're
identities
more
kind of
dramatic,
things.
They're
And
more dramas than flat out horror, but a lot of them are very good.
They call them thrillers.
Thrillers, yeah.
Thrillers.
Yeah.
Thrillers.
Psycho with the Birds, horror.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is Janet Leigh in The Burbs?
No, Tippi
No.
Hedren is
Tippi
in the
Hedren.
Birds. Yeah.
Tippi Hedren.
Hedren.
Max Hedron.
Hedren.
Pizza the Hut's coming for you.
The Birds?
The Hut. I also had Misery. I also had Peeping Tom by Michael Powell, which was another film that came around the same time as Psycho did, but was overshadowed. But it's also a very good thriller killer movie. Black Christmas, Halloween. I mean, see all the slasher films.
What was that movie that we did for
Night of the
Monster
Hunter?
Cereal?
That's what I had.
With the guy with that would burn up the women and put them in his basement. Remember we did that with
Oh, what the
Aaron's
hell?
friend?
What was that called? Don't go up the stairs. Don't look at the basement.
Don't look into the
something
basement
like
or something.
That,
That was very
that
like
was
like, oh, this is I was watching Psycho. I was like, oh, that movie was a fucking Psycho ripoff.
So another one I
Okay.
was just thinking of is Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Yep.
That's another
That
one.
is a good
Kind of psycho, kind of killer kind of thing.
Dress to Kill.
Yeah.
Brian De Palma's Dress to Kill.
Oh, yeah.
Would be a good one. Prom Night would be a good one.
Sleepaway Camp.
Any of the slasher ones, really. For Hitchcock films, if you like this one, definitely check out like some of my favorites: Dial M for Murder,
Rope.
Rear Window, Rope, which might be my second favorite Hitchcock film.
'Cause if
Although
you want to talk
Rear
about, like-
Window is right up there too.
Rear Window for
That's
me
a
too.
tough one.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I'm on the fence between which one's better, Rope or Rear Window. Rope, especially because that had two unassuming killers.
Yes.
That were just killing to see if they can get away with it.
Yeah.
And they actually hide the body in a dresser or a chest.
Right.
During a dinner party while the murdered guy's parents are even in attendance.
Yeah.
Oh, it's chilling.
And here's the kick in this one. You're rooting for them in the beginning.
Yeah.
But when Jimmy Stewart shows up in the middle of the film, you're rooting for them to get caught.
Right.
It's an awesome
It totally
dichotomy.
changes, yeah.
It is
And this
so
is
good.
Rope.
It's his Rope.
Rope.
And the cool thing about Rope was it was also an experiment by Hitchcock where he made it look like the entire movie was one long continuous shot.
Yeah.
Oh,
There were no
cool.
cuts.
Yeah.
But it was actually filmed in like 10 different scenes, but he hid the cuts cleverly.
Yeah.
So it
He would
looks like
close in on somebody's back and
Yeah.
then cut, but you don't see it because it's
yeah,
so dark.
and then
pull
leave the
out,
camera in
do
the same
another shot.
place, and then the scene would start again.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'll
little
definitely
tricks like
check
that.
that
Yeah,
out.
it's a
Yep.
really cool movie.
And I too would recommend Motel Hell.
Mm.
I'm with Derek on that one. And there's a ton more. I'm sure I could think of others, but
Yeah.
we'll keep moving. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, we could go on and on.
Award for what are you doing in this movie?
Derek has, and I just lost the text. Hold on. Not so much an actor, but the name Sam Loomis always threw me.
Yeah, Loomis.
Because I was a Halloween fan before seeing this for the first time. So Dr. Samuel Lewis and Loomis, not Lewis, Loomis and by Donald Pleasance in
Uncle
Halloween.
Lewis, my
and
tree.
Billy Loomis in Scream.
Yeah,
So yeah.
very iconic name in the realm of horror.
Inspiration is there for sure.
So what are we doing? What are we doing in this movie?
Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock Always a cameo
His
with
little
Alfred.
cameo.
Oh, who
yeah.
is he in the
He
movie?
played the guy in the Stetson hat that was looking through the window at the beginning of the movie when Marion was going into the office.
Oh, okay. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, Alfred Hitchcock, he does a cameo in like almost all of his movies.
Yep.
Yeah, he has a little, and he wanted to put it like up front, so like he wanted people to concentrate on the Norman thing and not be like, "Oh, where's Hitch going to show up this time?"
Oh,
So
gotcha.
he put himself in the movie like
Early.
almost at the very, very beginning.
Yep. He's
That's
just
cool.
outside,
Yeah.
hanging out.
I went with Simon Oakland, who plays the doctor.
Yeah, there you go.
This is fucking Strank from West Side Story.
Oh, that's
All
right. I
right.
forgot
Okay.
he was.
I was like, oh, the guy from West Side Story.
Yeah.
I forgot he was Croaky. Yes.
What else was he in, Mark?
Well, I also put Simon Oakland because he was Anthony Vincenzo in Kolchak, the
There
Night
you go.
Stalker.
Oh.
So
Yep.
you need that
His
scene
boss.
just so I can watch him
Yeah.
go, and mother
Yeah.
killed the girl. Not exactly. Yeah, you have to. The overacting is just great because I like that actor. I like him in West Side Story.
Yeah.
I love him in Kolchak.
Oh,
so
Kolchak's awesome.
maybe that's why I don't mind that scene because it's Simon Oakland. It's Vincenzo.
That's true. That's true. All right, you might have convinced me.
There you go.
MVP.
Derek has Anthony Perkins. So great switching between psyches. I gotta, yeah.
Yeah, Anthony Perkins for me as well.
Same.
Yep, he
Anthony
carries
Perkins.
this movie. I don't think I can picture anybody else as Norman Bates.
Agreed. All around. Anthony Perkins, MVP.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah.
I don't know why he didn't have a bigger career.
He got typecast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only I've seen him in a
He's
couple of
very
other
good.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
He
good
was in this
actor.
great
Yeah.
Jekyll and Hyde movie called Edge of Insanity or Edge of Sanity or
Oh,
something
yeah?
like that.
He was in the Black Hole, Disney's Black
That's
Hole
right.
movie.
He was in the Black
Yeah.
Hole. Yes. With James Mason. Is James Mason?
James
in there?
Mason is in that one too, I believe. Yes.
And
Is it? Yeah.
and Robert Forster, Alligator's Own Robert
Yeah.
Forster's in the
Ernest
Black Hole.
Borgnine.
I never seen Black
Max- Maximilian
Looks like
Schell.
Ernest Borgnine. Maximilian Schell from
Yep.
Vampires and Hamlet. Okay.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was
he's
fun.
so good.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's handsome. He's fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why he wasn't a bigger star.
And he can scare you
And
Yeah.
he can scare you.
Yeah.
But he can also charm.
without
you.
a weapon because
Yeah.
he wasn't even doing the knifing in the shower scene. That was somebody else. That if you ever went to Universal Studios
Yeah, it
in
was
the
his mom.
80s or 90s.
Yeah, it was his mom.
No, but it was another actor. He wasn't there. Never lifted a knife in his life until
Timid.
the sequel.
That's fucking.
Is that it?
Psycho, baby.
That's Psycho. So thumbs up all around.
great movie.
Yeah.
All
Oh,
right,
absolutely.
Cool.
It's like I said, it's definitely in my rotation.
The second pick I've done, everybody likes. I'm beginning to hate this.
You
Think
picked
that?
two like really, really good movies.
I don't like
in a
this.
row.
Yeah.
Don't get used
Crazy.
to
You're
it.
turning into a real crowd pleaser there,
can't wait
buddy.
till
I don't
the
like
next
it.
one.
No,
When you can see the
I'm
fucking
getting my
boom
Dr.
mics.
Forrester on. Wait until April or May or something, and I'll make up for it.
Mark's gonna be like, this movie where you can see boom mics and fucking strings and zippers on the guy's back, where the fucking head attaches to the body. It's fucking awesome. You're gonna love it.
I mean, he's not wrong. You are not wrong. That's what I love, folks.
Nice.
That's what I
You
love.
can see the teeth behind
Keep
the
your
teeth.
gun with the wind. I'll take my Plan 9 from outer space. I am recommending good movies now, but there have been past episodes where I've put these guys through some hell with some
Sure have.
crap movies. And if you want to hear
Wait a
those
minute, we're not
episodes,
doing Geek Flag?
fuck, I was shit.
That was good.
You know
that was
what?
really good though.
Okay, let's segue back. Hey, before I do that, what's making your geek flag fly?
Derek. got
Did
anything?
Derek have anything?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
All right. First of all, I want to give this one's going out to Tito because this is a red letter day for Tito. Both Ray Don Chong and Stephanie Beacham have birthdays today.
Oh,
Happy
boy!
birthday.
They
Yeah.
were born on the same day.
Same day,
Glad
but I
to
think
beach 'em.
10 years apart. If
Holy
I'm not
smokes.
sure.
Ray Don
Oh,
Chong. We got to watch
yeah.
a Ray Don Chong movie.
Yeah,
too.
we do.
Beautifully beautiful beauties.
Yes.
Oh, I love
Stephanie
them both for
Beacham,
different
glad
reasons.
to
to
meet
meet
you.
him.
Oh, what a fox.
Yeah, both of them.
So I wanted to give that a shout out. I
Stunning.
saw that this
Don
morning, and I
Chong.
said I got to make a mental note, make Tito aware that this is now a holiday in the
Should
Tito
be.
household.
February 28th.
There you go. We'll have a party. Bring your Beachams.
Yeah, bring your Beacham towel.
Just
You know
We'll
what Ray
play
Don
some
Chong is
Beacham
really
Boys.
good in? Fucking The Principal. She's excellent in that movie.
yes, she is. She's probably the only good thing about that.
She's in that.
Yeah.
Is she really?
I don't like
Belushi
that movie. Ernie Hudson
vehicle?
is the bad guy. It doesn't work for me.
Oh, wow.
Gossett Jr. No, you're thinking of the substitute.
Oh, what am I thinking of?
That's the substitute.
That doesn't
Ernie
work
Hudson's
for me,
the
but
bad
I
guy in
like the substitute. Louis Goss is in The Principal.
He is.
Yeah.
It's Jim Belushi doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Anybody could kick that guy's ass in
Ray
that movie.
Dong Chong.
But Ray Don Chong is awesome in that film. I will give you that.
All right.
1 star for Ray Dong Chong. grab your Beechams and your Chong. Come to the party.
Oh, boy. So, the only thing that I've got on my geek flag this week is a show that I started watching on, I believe, Hulu called Death and Other Details. Mm-hmm. It's a whodunit. Derek, you're not here, but I'm kind of upset that we're not going to be able to talk.
Trailer for this.
It's very good. Mandy Patinkin plays Detective Rufus Cotsworth, and he's got a protege named Imogen, and they dig for truth. Not Poots, not Poots. But they dig for the truth on a Mediterranean ocean liner where everyone is hiding something. Somebody dies, obviously, on this cruise ship, and he has to solve the mystery. His protege, this Imogen, hates him, though, which is fun because he tried to solve the murder of her mother when she was a child, and he couldn't. It was like one of the only cases that stumped him, and it caused him to lose his luster. Right now, when the show takes place, he's not the greatest detective anymore. He's lost
Trying to get his mojo back.
He's lost his shine.
Oh, I like that.
And she ends up teaming up with him despite her misgivings about him. And so far, I've watched 3 episodes, and they're really freaking good. I like it so far.
Cool.
I think there's 7 or 8 episodes. I'm not sure, but check it out. Hulu.
It's a Hulu series.
Hulu series.
I'll check it out.
Death and Other Details. Mandy Patinkin.
Fantastic.
Avatar: The Last Airbender, the live-action series, came out
Oh,
on
yeah.
Netflix last week. I had to watch it a couple of times because initially I didn't know if I liked it or not, but after watching it more than once, I really like it. It's one of those things where it's maybe a little too accurate. That was throwing me. Like, all the characters look exactly like their cartoon versions, but human, and it was blowing my fucking mind.
Really freaky.
Like, how did you found the perfect actor to look like this square-faced human being? Or the kid has a giant, he's got like a big circle head with huge eyebrows. I'm like, you look just like you look like
Too many
Aang.
questions.
You look just like Sokka.
Distracting.
And it's hard to condense, an animated show into these
that had
8
like 100 episodes. Yeah,
right. So I thought they did a really good job, and I like it. I think if you like the show, it fucking is a million times better than that fucking shit movie that came out.
Oh, the M. Night
The
Shyamalan
M.
Ding
Night
Dong movie.
Shyamalan. That movie
Ding
fucking
Dong.
stinks.
I didn't even
This
bother.
show, by comparison, is a fucking masterpiece. So if you like the show, definitely see it because I loved the series. And it makes me want to go back and rewatch the animated series, so I probably will do that again too. But yeah, that's making my geek flag fly, that show.
Nice.
It's fun.
Awesome. I really don't have anything. I've been watching a lot of old stuff and stuff that I've been working to.
All
So,
right.
unfortunately, I can't do much, but I can remind you guys about AuthorCon by our good friend Josh Dowland, and he is going to be on the show. He's coming on the show this month, hopefully next episode, to promote it. So he's going to have a lot to say about it. We're very excited to have him.
Be great to see him again.
Tell you all about the AuthorCon, which is happening. I should have
You
this
should know.
committed
March
to
You should have it
23rd?
memorized. Yeah, I
memory
believe
to know. It's
so.
March 23rd from like 11 to 6 at Rhode Island College.
Yep. The student hall.
Thank you. Yep. Again, we'll have
Yeah.
Josh who will give you more details.
Yeah,
on it.
if we just butchered that, just go to the Horror Depot on Facebook and you'll find all the details
I
about
butchered it.
it.
You didn't. You saved me. But I will be there. A lot of people, a lot of great horror writers and artists are going to be there, and hopefully you all can come make it. Show Josh some support, man. He puts on such amazing conventions.
He really does.
And I can't wait. So.
Cool.
That's pretty much all I've got. Other than that, watch X-Files. It's great.
Yeah.
I've been watching the new He-Man series. I freaking love that.
Oh, Revolution.
Yep, and love the anime. Love everything
Cool, right?
about it. It is so good.
Because you were like, I hope there's some Skeletor.
Oh,
And there's a lot of fucking Skeletor.
but I rewatched the second half of Kevin Smith's other one that came
Revelations.
out too.
Yeah.
So I've only just begun with the new one.
And homeboy with the red bat on his chest. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Hordak.
The Hordak.
Yeah.
The Hordak.
Hordak.
So that's what I got.
Nice.
Okay, so now, we almost missed this geek flag because I screwed it up. This has happened many episodes. If you like when I screw up, and I know some of you out there do, you get a big belly full of a laugh. You know who you are, folks.
Remember when you said you wanted to start a podcast?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you know what? You can go back to these awesome episodes where we rave and we rant, we regurgitate all things geek. And for that, Brian, where can they go?
They can go to www.3gdpodcast.com. That's www.
The number 3
gdpodcast.com. And as Mark said, you'll be able to find all of our past episodes there, along with one-click buttons where you can easily subscribe to us. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Go to the website, smash one of those buttons to the podcast platform of your choice, and you will never miss an upcoming episode. We also have a Ko-fi page. Ko-fi is kind of like Patreon. If you like what you hear, and we really hope you do, you might want to consider maybe making a small donation to help keep the show going, because as we say, podcasting is not cheap. Most importantly, please, if not at the website, wherever you can rate and review your podcast, please consider giving us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps us a lot. It helps to push our little show a little further forward from the rest of the podcasting pack. And most importantly, it makes it easier for others to find us while they are searching. Our social media links are also at the website. We can be found at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, now X, and our audio of our shows can be found weekly on YouTube as well. And all of those links are there. And I believe that's it, Mark. So I'm just going to say to everybody out there, thank you so much for listening. And Mark, back to you.
Thank you, Brian Tito, for joining me tonight. Thank you, Derek, who is here in spirit. We'll have him back next week, and the team shall be complete. Hopefully
I'm under the table.
I've been here the whole time. Hopefully we'll have special guest Josh Darwin joining us for our next maddening movie for In the March of Madness.
Yeah,
what is it? You're
enough.
going to have to stay tuned and listen, because I'm not giving it all away. I don't care how much I like
Spoilers,
you.
sweetie.
So until next time, for 3 Geeky Dads, this is Mark.
I'm Brian.
I'm Tito.
Saying keep watching the skies, because blood, oh God, mother, blood.
She's
Fire.
A boy's best friend is his mother.
Mother. Oh God, mother. Breasts. Beechams.
Oh, yeah.
Yoko. Oh God, mother.
Stephanie,
Yoko.
come
Yo,
on.
yo, yo, yo.
Come home, Stephanie.
Come home, Stephanie. I will watch Machete tonight.
Machete. Quite some time.
Love Machete.
I love when he's in the hospital and he uses that guy's intestines as a rope.
Oh,
to get
yeah,
out.
out the window.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a good part.
Funny
I am
movie.
not the biggest Michelle Rodriguez fan, but I think she's great in those movies. I gotta give her credit. I gotta give credit where credit's due to people,
And that's
she
credit.
rocks those movies.
Credit worthy.
Everybody
I
does.
can't recall. I'll be honest, I don't recall.
We're gonna watch it again, so you can have recall. Total recall.
Recall.
Ricola.
Quaid, you blabbed, Quaid, you blabbed. Bullock. Robert Costanzo, Bullock in Batman the Animated Series. You
Oh, is that
blabbed,
who-
Quaid.
He does that.
Yeah.
That's the guy who does the voice. I didn't
Yeah.
realize. It's a good Bullock.
The best. Oh, we don't.
Oh, yeah.
we
Derek
need an
should have sent in a
incoming
dad joke. Shit.
Dad
Oh,
joke.
what
We're
if
gonna have to
we-
come up with one.
How about
What if we
do one about
incoming
absentee
dad
dads?
joke? Incoming dad joke?
Yeah.
It's just crickets.
Nothing. And then we go straight
All right,
into the show.
Perfect.
I
Let's
like
do
it.
that.
Okay.
Okay.
All
All right. So just that's all
Okay.
post. So
Yeah,
you're
we could do the
start with
incoming dad
Great
joke.
idea.
No,
Yeah.
Nothing.
insert crickets or something.
Crickets. That guy.
Unless you can pull it.
That's what she said.
Can you tug it? Can you wrench it?
I'm going to unplug your
Can you
laptop.
wrench it?
Oh, that's not my
Let's
laptop.
wrench it.
I don't know what that is.
All right, then I'm going to
Yeah.
unplug this.
It's part of the lights, I think.
Oh, that works. All right, I can go with
Like
that.
you
Yeah.
Why don't you just plug it into your butt?
I don't have a butt. Oh, I can plug it into my. You know what? Wait a minute.
You could plug it into your laptop.
I can plug it right into my laptop.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
How many?
I can use that other charger.
What's the dad joke? How many dads does it take to fucking charge a cell phone?
This was the incoming dad joke right here.
Incoming dad joke.
Yeah.
Who's in the mood to watch Dracula AD 72?
Well, now that we're talking
Now that we're talking about Stephanie Beacham.
Sure, absolutely.
What's the brunette in that, too?
Those amazing.
Oh, Carolyn Monroe, yeah.
Another good one.
Yep.
I'm good for that.
That's another one, you guys. I was not not familiar with the horror.
Yeah, the Hammer stuff.
horror films.
See?
So I started hanging out with you.
He can be
Coots.
taught.
I can be taught. It's true. I can change. Good
Good
change.
change. R.I.P.
Oh, R.I.P. fucking Richard Lewis.
Oh, yeah, shit.
I have a mole.
Oh, good change.
Bad change.
Bad change.
Bad
Oh,
change that he died.
Yeah.
What the funny
Nope.
one is
R.I.P. Richard Lewis.
Andrew Dice Clay's gonna outlive all of them. I don't understand.
Dice
now.
Man?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he sold his soul.
To rock and roll.
You want to change the sheets with me? Can we change the sheets?
It just has that, I don't know, musty, creepy smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.